So, speaking of that seamless transition, general part of the country, our graphic designer, J. Andrew World, the guy who's responsible for all those awesome thumbnails. Andy brought to our attention this story about ICE. Do you want to recap what's been going on with that, Andy?
Well, excuse me. Sorry. Basically, what's going on is ICE has been spying on activists, and it's a really it's kind of disturbing. But basically, there was somebody who was having a mental health issue in a private detention camp in Georgia, and ended up committing suicide. And they found out that his family and the activists around there were being spied on, and just 15 of them showed up at a candlelight vigil, and they're getting spied on. Then there was a hunger strike at one of these facilities, and one of these activists reported on it, and they got an email from ICE saying, "That's not true. Please delete your tweet." And then they actually have. We're able to obtain emails from ICE to the private detention centers, discussing that. I did not reread those before the episode, so I apologize for that. So I don't have that fresh in my head, but there was several emails that went back and forth, and it's something.
Yeah. Which does tie into what Anna was saying at the toward the end of the main show, that when it comes there's a lot of there's one of those both things are true situations where there are very real differences between the way that somebody like Biden and somebody like Trump are going to govern. They're both representatives of the ruling class, but that doesn't mean that they don't have different strategies for managing the system on behalf of the ruling class, or they're not going to appoint different people or do different things in certain areas. But also, right, the other thing that's also true is that there are all of these areas, some of which are made a big deal of when somebody who's ostentatiously, cartoonishly evil like Trump is in office, where there's really not going to be a whole lot of differences, and the immigration and border enforcement is definitely one of them.
Well, I'm going to now call on Cale to jump in, because Cale might be
as an ICE agent myself, I can speak to this.
No, I'm just saying, even though he's 10 years younger than me, I've learned quite a bit from Cale. He's a very smart young lad. And I think one of my favorite things I've learned, my favorite things I've learned about through you, Cale, is Peter Mayer's work. And I think it's a perfect opportunity for you to jump in and talk about it.
Oh, I mean, I was actually, the book that I was thinking of related to all of this is actually a different one by Aaron Leonard and Connor Gallagher, called A Threat of the First Magnitude, FBI Counterintelligence and Infiltration from the Communist Party to the Revolutionary Union from 1962 to 1974. I am reading that. That wasn't off the top of my head. But it's a book that's that actually details a lot of the actual federal, I guess you could say, infiltration or embedding themselves within the left, kind of at the height of the new left, and how just large chunks of the activist left in America included people who were paid by the police. And I think, there's some really scary stories throughout it. People that spend decades involved in left organizing, that have families with people on the left, that have friends that all the while, I don't know what's going through their head exactly, but that are saying, I'm ultimately working to undermine all of this, that I actually think this is what I'm spending all of my time doing with these people that I love is actually deeply evil. And I think it's a horrible thing, but it's also something I think the left has to just kind of take as a given at this point, in this moment, in this Bernie moment and onwards, wherever we're going, if we are so lucky to be successful in it.
But excuse me, Cale, to what you're saying, don't you think that's a problem with movies, for example, like Judas and the Black Messiah, that kind of show the whole Black Panther Party, or even if you want to say, well, no, they were just talking about the Chicago chapter, was infiltrated by like this one guy when he was one of many informants in just that chapter alone. Like, I think people don't understand the level of informants that you're going to have. I think, Ben, you said something about this a while back. Like, hey, it's a given. You're going to get infiltrated. You need to be strong enough, powerful enough, to understand that. But someone in the chat earlier on in the show was like, oh, well, you can't have certain things in the left because of COINTELPRO. And I was like, I don't buy that at all.
Well, I mean, I think when Megan Day was on here, she made a really nice point about how a lot of the things that would be like COINTELPRO operations in the 70s are things that we just all do to each other all the time because of left Twitter. So like it's kind of redundant now. You don't really need to do that.
Yeah, the snitch shit that people have, and the drama beef that people have, and the TMC shit that people want to get involved with is silly shit.